Hi, Michael. Hi, Patricia, Esther. Oh my goodness. Good, good. Morgan, Martin, Stephen. Let me see if I can scroll down this thing. I don't know if it's going to let me scroll down. So good morning. And yeah, great. Morgan, you just modeled the behavior I'm hoping for. Say hello, everybody, in the chat list, the chat box. It's over to the left-hand side. Hi there. How you doing? Let us know where you are in the world. That would be great. And let me turn the peoply off so that I can see all of the screen. So Carlos and I are here. He's sitting at my computer. I think I can just pop this up and push this over. There he is. Yay. He'll be saying hello in a little while. Now, let me see if I can pull this guy down. Oh, yes, great. So, hello, Carol, Tyler, Morgan, and Patricia, and Steve, and Chrissy, and Martin, and Mariana. Where are you from? How's the weather outside your window? And what time of day is it? We moved this back to noon, so it'll be a little less difficult for folks in Europe and parts east or west, depending on which way you're going. So this is great. We actually have about 94 people in the course at this point. We have room for 300. So if you have friends who you think would do that, send them the link. I sent everybody except Susan. If Susan's here, I don't see her yet. Hey, Elaine, great to see you. The greater, longer list of all of the links for the whole course. And I'm going to be uploading that to the various Facebook pages, and you can also download it from your schedule. We'll talk about where to find that a little bit later on as we go. Now let me see my timer. This is a new course for me as well. I mean, a new spot for me. Okay, good. Nice. Okay, so I'm, if you don't know me and you've never been in one of our ParaMOOCs, welcome to the experience. I hope it's going to be good. This is the first time that we've been involved with this particular academy. We had a different version of the WizIQ Academy for the last 4 years. The ParaMOOC series started in 2015, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that when we move on to the next slide. So this is a new one this year. And one of the reasons why we wanted to move over is because the video frame is a little bit bigger and the frame for the PowerPoint is a little bit bigger. And it's got some interesting things that we'll be able to do as we go along. So I hope it's going to be a lot easier. And hi, Patricia, again. I think, have we got 2 Patricias in here? This is great. 16 people now. So welcome, everybody. We're really glad to have you. So I'm Nancy Groney. You can find all the information that you need to know about me in About the Organizers, which is one of your downloads in the classroom. And my partner in crime for the ParaMOOC series is Dr. Carlos S. Alvarado. Let's just put this up so you can see him again. There he is.
Partner in crime.
Partner in crime.
Okay.
Also my husband, also my lifelong colleague. We have worked together in parapsychology. We're both research psychologists, and we've worked together in this field since the 1980s, right? Since the day we met, practically.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to get started here, and there's Lizette. Welcome, Lizette, and everybody say happy birthday to Lizette. Today is Lizette's birthday.
Happy birthday!
Lizette Coley is the president of the Parapsychology Foundation, which, as you'll hear in a minute, without whom we would not be able to do this. And she has kindly come along and is spending some of her birthday day time with us. So that's
happy birthday.
We're very happy about that. All righty. So welcome to ParaMOOC 2019. Those of you who have been in our previous courses have seen these teal placards of speakers. And you'll notice that this year our structure for the course has changed a bit. From 2015 through 2018, we tried to cast a really wider net in the field and have a variety of topics involved with every course. And we've really talked to an awful lot of people, and some of them have come back more than once to be a faculty member of the ParaMOOC. So we decided we'd like to do something different from this year forward, at least for a while anyhow, and that is to choose a particular topic and focus on that topic specifically. So today is this iteration of the ParaMOOC is survival of death and parapsychology. So all of the people that you see on this list here, can you see my let me know if you can see my little arrow going around. If not, I'll see if there's somewhere. Yay, good. I love this new webinar. It's very nice. Obviously, Carlos Alvarado, who's over here, is going to be giving a couple of talks. We'll look at the faculty members and their talks specifically later. We have Jan Holden from University of Texas, Phil Morse, who's associated with the Rhine Research Center here and is also from State University of New York in Fredonia, Dr. Masayuki Okado, who has to get up extremely early in the morning to do something for us, so we're really grateful to have him. He's from Chobo University in Japan. Alejandro Parra from Buenos Aires, the Open University, the Open Inter-American University. Julie Beischel of Wimbridge Research Center, Cal Cooper from Northampton University, Alexander Moreira Almeida from Federal University of Juiz de Fora in Brazil, Michael Nahm from the Institute for Frontier Science in Psychology and Mental Health in Germany, and Dr. Stephen Browdy, who is an emeritus professor, like Phil is, from University of Maryland in Baltimore County, although he lives in Las Vegas now, so that's kind of a good place to live. If you're new getting into the class, let us know where you are in the world, what time it is, what the weather's like outside your window, and say hello to each other. One of the blessings we've had since 2016 is that the Parapsychology Foundation has been our primary donor and the main support of the ParaMOOC series. In 2015, our very first one, she was actually the top donor there as well. We had a number of other donors, including Phil Morse and Natasha and Jonathan Chistis of chisfilm.com. We're very grateful to Parapsychology Foundation, as you probably know from reading our bios, or when you'll read the bios, you'll see this, that Carlos and I are research fellows of the Parapsychology Foundation and got grants back in the day when we were in the 1980s and 90s that helped us get through our PhD programs, and have worked for the PF either as consultants or on site or running a virtual office since 1998. So we've with a little bit of a hiatus when we were volunteers in the end of the 2000s. So long association is because we have the same goals when it comes to the field and when it comes to education in the field. If you have been to parapsychology.org, the main website, you'll know there's a really nice blog series there, and there's also a second blog called PF News. The Parapsychology Foundation has supported over the years many researchers and many students at different stages in their academic careers, from undergraduate to postdoctoral. So the foundation has a true commitment to the scientific study of this. There goes the voice. The scientific study of psychic phenomena, and we'll tell you more about the Parapsychology Foundation at the end of this talk. Oh, Jarko and Marla, welcome, welcome. Glad to see you here. And then we're also listing Brian Williams, who's at the Psychical Research Foundation in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He is usually our co-moderator for the discussion forums, and he will also be our co-moderator for the 2 discussion forums that we'll be having inside of WizIQ during this course. So that's who we all are. And you'll get a little more information about the faculty later. I just wanted to give a shout out to 123rf.com, which is a stock photo and illustration website that sells the work of a lot of individuals, many of whom have these, kind of avatar-y sort of names. This is the Parapsychology Wordle from Radiant Skies, and we licensed it to use it for our course. She or he has put together a number of these Wordles covering a whole bunch of topics, especially a long series of various aspects of parapsychology. We just love it. So it's been our logo since we started. Petrag, welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to see you again. Okay. Let's move on here. So what we're going to talk about today is Carlos and I are going to welcome you a little bit, and he's going to talk a little bit about how he put together this group of people and why he picked the topic. We'll do that as a kind of an intro into the philosophy of the ParaMOOC series. We'll also look a little bit at the content and structure of the course. I'll roll through some pictures and descriptions of the sessions that will be done by the faculty members, all of whom, by the way, are volunteering their time to the course. And then we'll give you a little bit of help navigating the classroom and finding what you need, especially for those of you who are returning. It's quite a different type of webinar. Well, the webinar is a little bit different, much improved, but the academy is quite a bit different from what we're used to in the past. So I have some slides showing you where everything is and how to get a hold of stuff. And then we'll have a few slides in which we're going to talk about the Parapsychology Foundation and Desire websites and let you know what our Facebook pages are, and then open it up for questions. We're scheduled for 90 minutes. I did just give it an extra 30 as we got started, just in case. So I think I'm going to do this little thing with the, since I've been blathering, I'm going to do this thing with the with the web camera so that Carlos can say hello and all that stuff. And if you can lean in a little bit, the microphone is on the webcam itself. I gotcha. Let's see what's better for you. There you go.
Hello there. Okay, yeah, I think that's good.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm supposed to say something about the philosophy of the ParaMOOC series.
Try to speak up so they can hear you over our cat.
I hope you can hear me. I'm a little far from the microphone. Well, this is a series of lectures, as many of you know, that are designed to discuss different aspects of parapsychology. The way we select people, and I'm kind of in charge of that, is, I identify people that are well known in the areas that they do research in, and I basically approach them, and after some friendly exchange, like what's happening, and what are you doing, and invite them to participate. I usually assign them a topic, but it's very flexible. I let them do whatever they want, because you should know that none of them are getting paid. This is on their own time. They put a lot of effort, presenting very good presentations with very nice slides and very solid content. And they talk about their own research and research conducted by other people over the years. The criteria are basically serious researchers. Most of them have a PhD level training. Many of them are in universities or research institutes. So we are sure that we get people that know what they're talking about and have experience and knowledge in the area. Generally, they talk about not only what they are doing, their own research, and all of them conduct their own research, but they also discuss the research of others. So that, in a general way, is what we do in the course, trying to bring the best people to discuss all these different topics. That's sometimes not so easy because people are sometimes busy, or they're not available for whatever reason. But I must say that I get a lot of cooperation, all very nice about it. And even those that have to decline, they apologize, and they all believe in the presentation of these public lectures, and lectures that are free for the people that want to come and listen to them. Because when you do research, it's very important that the research is going out into the world, that people know about it. All of them publish in specialized journals and sometimes in books. But this series of lectures are designed to reach more than only the academic world. So that, in a general way, is the philosophy of the ParaMOOC series. Back to you, Nancy.
Okie dokies. I've got a little bit of you in there, so that's we have Carlos's shoulder going on back here. You can lean in anytime you want. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So I confess I have put this on the slide. If you've been in our courses before, you've seen this picture more than once. It's one of our favorite photos, although we have a lot of favorite photos from our time with the Parapsychology Foundation. Yeah, hundreds. But this one, I think, is at the top. This was taken at Utrecht University during the Utrecht II conference. You may not know that in 1953, one of the first sort of mid-century modern kind of international conferences, a very, very large conference, was put on by the Parapsychology Foundation by its founder, Eileen J. Garrett, and who is Lisette's grandmother and Anna Demalis's great-grandmother, and her colleague, Frances Bolton, who was a U.S. Congresswoman. They set up this conference in Utrecht in the Netherlands and brought together an enormous amount of people to give talks and attend workshops and just get together on a level that had not been done for a number of decades, really, in the field. So one of the things that Lisette really wanted to do was to kind of cap off Utrecht I from 1953 with another conference that was about 50 years later. So in 2008, with the help of the Johan Borgman Fund and Wim Kramer from that particular organization, helped us put together a conference. Carlos was in charge of the speakers, and we had quite an international mix. We all traveled to the Netherlands staying in the same hotel where the original one took place to have this conference. So in 2008, we did it again on a much smaller scale. And you see Mrs. Coley, Eileen Coley, who's Lisette Coley's mother, passed away, still is, passed away some years back. And she's the daughter of Eileen J. Garrett, obviously. And then a much younger me, Carlos, who never ages. In
paranormal.
He's totally paranormal. So this is one of our favorite things here. So the philosophy of the ParaMOOC series is, as Carlos was touching on, is that we want the presentations all to be by individuals with academic, scientific, and/or medical training and/or a track record of serious research on topics in the field, depending on if there's a theme or if it's an overview of the field. In this particular iteration, everybody is a PhD. We have had postgraduate students. We've had Brian Williams, who hasn't completed his education, but formally, but has an extraordinary understanding of the field and has done some important research. So we kind of we've had Cheryl Lee Black from Canada, who's an experiencer with some scientific training. So we've had a mixture of extraordinary people talking about their work. Another way that we put this together is that we're really, if we find it really important to have a variety of perspectives. So we've had Chris French, for instance, in the past, who has more focused on conventional explanations for the phenomena. We've had individuals who are on different sides of a particular type of phenomena, the people who are pro and con Roger Nelson's global consciousness idea. We've had people from physics, from sociology, from religious studies, from psychology, anthropology, and so on. So we've always tried to bring in people who have a different point of view and have a track record in some area of the field that represents the breadth, and depth of what goes on. Even though we are an absolutely tiny international community of researchers, it's probably the only place where you can bump into, meet, and ask questions of so many of the active researchers. Another part of our philosophy is that we have from the beginning given only one lecture per day, and we did that initially because we wanted to make sure that the speakers could go on as long as they needed to go on. We usually shot for looked for 90 minutes, but we've had sessions that have gone on for 2.5 hours. For instance, when Professor Bernard Carr from Queen Mary College in the University of London system came to talk about his particular point of view, his physics theory about how all of this phenomena works. The students actually kept him going. I think we topped out around 2.5 hours. So we want to give them the ability to fully discuss their topic and to be able to spend as much time with all of you answering questions and talking basically about the topic. So we're very much different from what you'll see in a conference, for instance, a face-to-face conference like the Parapsychological Association conference. The speakers have 15 minutes or 30 minutes, or at the max, if they're an eminence in the field, 45 minutes to talk about their topic or their particular research. And we wanted to make sure people could get into what they were doing, give us all the information they wanted to, and then interact with you all as long as their schedule permitted. Another thing that we wanted to do that's different from a lot of other adult education programs in the field, not that there's that many, there aren't that many, but in general, courses that are taught at the for adults as part of an adult education program tend not to be as complex as what we hope to provide here. So we've basically told our speakers, assume that everybody in the room is an intelligent human being who has an interest in the field, has read some of the literature, if not quite a lot of the literature, has expertise on their own, and can handle you presenting your work in the way you would present it to colleagues. So we're trying to provide an educational experience that's more like a postgraduate seminar. We're all about complexity and diversity of perspective and methodology. So let's talk a little bit about the course. Now, the course has an opening and closing session. It's similar to our previous courses. We have two discussion forums in the webinar frame. The first one will be on April 21st at noon, And during the closing session on May 19th, that will mainly be a discussion forum. In both of those sessions, we'll have Brian Williams with us, and we'll be talking about all of the materials we've gone over up to that point. So in April, we'll have a few of the April presentations, and then in May, we'll be covering some of the rest of it. And the way that we do these things is, for those of you who haven't been in a ParaMOOC with us before, is to open up the mics if people are willing, if they're not, and keep the chat box going at a very lively level. And I wanted to say about the chat box, it's totally okay with us if you're having conversations in the background in the chat. We want you to have both the formal channel of a presenter giving you information about their work and so on, and this back channel, so you get to know the other people who are in the class. And that's particularly important this year because the new academy doesn't give us so much of a possibility to do that, but we'll talk about that later. We will probably do discussion forums in Second Life as well, but the group that's always involved in that, and I and anybody who else who's interested, will be kind of figuring out when that's going to be and what time will work for us. We have Jarkko from Finland who comes in at a very late hour to our discussion forums in Second Life, and so we'll talk about that later. The Second Life is a virtual world. You have to make an avatar and then come visit the Azire Library and Learning Center. That is absolutely, totally, utterly optional. Nobody has to do that if they don't want to. I think all of the presenters this time will be presenting PowerPoints, and those will be loaded up in your course schedule. I'll show you where in a little bit. We're also going to be bringing in PowerPoint posters from previous ParaMOOCs that are relevant to the theme of this course. Oh, sorry, I misspelled theme. As well as bibliographies, links to the Google Calendar, links to the schedule list. All of that's already there. And videos and tutorials, video tutorials and recordings of previous relevant sessions. My goodness, my eyes were half relevant, only one sessions not yet available on YouTube. And we'll also have a listing as well that will be links to a couple of blogs that talk about all of the videos that are being put up on the Parapsychology Foundation channel, and a specific list of ones that are very much relevant to what we're talking about here, as well as some of the primers of websites that I did some years back on our YouTube channel, Carlos's and mine, Parapsychology Online. So there's going to be the core of the 11 presentations by the faculty members, 2 by Carlos, 9 by other presenters, and then a host of other materials that will pop up in each of the weeks going forward. The course is actually open for 11 weeks. I am not sure why it says 3 weeks. It used to have 11 weeks, so that's something I'm rebuilding out again. But we go through, the last present live session is on May 19th, and the course will be open to enrollment until May 31st. I'm saying that because if anybody enrolls, so if you have friends who want to come in and are too busy right now to kind of deal with it, if a person enrolls by May 31st, they will have access to the course materials and all the recordings and everything that's available at least until the spring of 2020. So that's something to keep in mind. So let's take a look at the speakers. Now, you'll be getting by a PowerPoint of the biographies of the speakers. As I get the biographies in from them, I've got a number of them from Carlos, I will be putting them up also in the course description. So ultimately, your course descriptions in the live classes will have the abstract of the presentation plus the biographies. I'm hoping to get those filled out this week. Once I have the PowerPoint ready with everybody's individual biography page and their description of their talk, I will have that posted to the schedule as well. So right now we're just going to go kind of quickly through what's going to be happening. Tomorrow, Carlos is going to be giving us a talk on survival of death and the development of parapsychology. Carlos is obviously a co-director of the ASIRE, which stands for Alvarado Zingrodi Institute for Research and Education. Don't get too excited. It's a virtual project of our little consulting company. However, it's kind of all over the place, so we're very proud of it. On April 13th, which is next Saturday, he will be talking about in European interest in survival of death, the case of Ernesto Bolzano. Okay. On Sunday, April 14th, we'll hear from Jan Holden, who's the editor of the Journal of Near-Death Studies and a professor of counseling education at the University of Texas, North Texas. Her talk will be near-death experiences and the survival of physical death. After her presentation, I will be also posting to the schedule 2 presentations that she gave us in a previous MOOC about near-death experiences, specific cases. On Saturday, the 20th of April, we'll have Dr. Phil Morse. He's a professor emeritus of education from the State University of New York at Fredonia. He lives now in this area, which is how we know him. He's behind not only, he and Carlos were working together for a while on evidence for survival, and the 2 of them are behind the compelling evidence for survival of death Facebook page on Facebook and the website of the same name. He will be talking about the amazing, unimpeachable mediumship of Lenora Piper. Okay, so we would put Eileen J. Garrett kind of in that same place and maybe a little higher up the totem pole. But this Lenora Piper was an extraordinary medium as well, who was not caught in fraud and is basically one of Phil's favorite topics. He knows quite a lot about her life and the research that was done with her by William James and others. So this should be quite an interesting talk as well. Good company, exactly. Then on the 27th of April, we'll have Dr. Masayuki Okado, professor in the Graduate School of Global Humanics and Faculty of General Education, sorry about the typo, Chubu University in Japan. How real are past life experiences under hypnosis? This is a bit we tried to kind of diversify out from the core topic of survival after death, and this one I think has an impact on the research. After he presents this, I will also be uploading the recording of a talk he gave for us last year or the year before about I think it was children's experiences of past life memories. Alejandro Parra, who I think has been in virtually everything we've ever done online, is the associate professor of psychology in the Faculty of Psychology at the Open Inter-American University in Buenos Aires. He's also the founder and chief of the Institute for Paranormal Psychology in Buenos Aires, and is a very interesting person in the sense that when he started out doing substantive and important work in the field, he actually hadn't finished his bachelor's degree at that point because of the economic consequences of some things that were happening in Argentina 30, 40 years ago. And now has a PhD and is a clinical psychologist and is continuing to run this extraordinary library and group of researchers in Buenos Aires that he founded so many years ago. His talk is going to be unusual perceptual experiences in hospital settings and anomalous experiences of nurses, which I should say is very much following on to a tradition of research that Carlos Osis and Erlander Haraldson first brought a monograph out with the Parapsychology Foundation, doing a study of these kinds of experiences in the hospital setting, funded by the Parapsychology Foundation way back in the 1950s, I think.
The late 50s.
Yeah, the late 50s. And the monograph was in 61 and became a book at the hour of death and so on later on. Then we'll have on May 4th, Julie Beischel, who's the co-founder with her husband, Mark Bacuzzi, of the Windbridge Research Center in Tucson, Arizona. She will be talking about the 4 types of after-death communication experiences. And I was just looking to see what Morgan said. Sorry. On the 5th of May, we will have Dr. Cal Cooper. He's an instructor in psychology at the University of Northampton, has done a number of interesting projects, including following up on D. Scott Rogo's research into after-death communications that come through technology, mainly telephones and cell phones now. And he's very much interested in any experiences that are anything that's experienced by the bereaved. And over the time that he's been interested in this, he's been involved with the Parapsychology Foundation in online conferences as a student. He's been funded. And now that he's a PhD person, he's still very much giving back to the community with his area of work. So his topic is apparitions and other experiences of the bereaved. The University of Northampton unit is now one of the most prolific units around the world, although in Sao Paulo, the 2 Parapsychology Foundation International affiliates, Dr. Wellington Zangari and Dr. Fatima Machado, have a unit called Intersea that does a lot of research into the psychological correlates of different types of experiences. It's a very wide program with a more with a good mixture of pro-parapsychological hypotheses and conventional hypotheses as well. So Northampton and Sao Paulo are 2 of the universities that are among the most active in the field. Not so many around the world, but when they're working very effectively. And Cal is a great speaker, so I'm sure you're going to enjoy that. So speaking of universities that are doing extraordinary work, Alexander Morera Almeida, who's a psychiatrist in the I'm going to say this in English, the Federal University of Juiz de Fora, Brazil. We met him the first time when he was doing I've forgotten now what they call that. Was it spiritual? What's the unit that he was working with? Spirituality, spiritual psychology, something like that. It was back in the early 90s at Duke University. It kind of fits in with this understanding of mindfulness and all that stuff.
This is on the psychology of religion. Basically.
There we go. Okay. But I know that the program was kind of based, and that's how we met him first, and he came to the notice of the Parapsychology Foundation around the same time. His unit is interdisciplinary. They have a YouTube channel, and I'll be giving you the link to that one. Most of their videos are both in English and in Brazil, and in Portuguese. If you're out there, Gonzalo, I'm sorry. He's a colleague of ours at the foundation. And we've had Alexander talking about a lot of different research that's relevant to the topic for this MOOC in other MOOCs. So once this particular presentation is done, I'll be uploading also the videos from those other presentations. For us in this course this time, he's going to be talking about mind-body independence and survival of death. And on May 12th, we'll have Dr. Michael Naum, who's at the IGPP in Germany. That's the Institute for Frontier Areas in Psychology and Mental Health. He's a researcher and has done a lot of important work over the years. Collaborated with Carlos on some papers and so on. His topic is going to be the unexpected return of mental clarity after death, examples, implications, and future research perspectives of terminal lucidity. And terminal lucidity is one of those things that happen. We have an example among some friends of ours in Puerto Rico where an aunt of one of our friends had been in a coma for quite a long time and was not expected to regain consciousness before passing. Our friend and her husband went to visit her and sit with her, and because the family had gotten into the habit of talking to her when they would come into her room, even though she'd been non-responsive for so long, our friend said, "Oh, and so, I'd like you to meet my husband," because she had just married her husband earlier than that, and said, "Here he is. I want to have you meet him." And her aunt sat up, completely awake and aware, and then talked to 2 other family members who have passed before, which our friends could not see or hear, obviously. She sat up and said, "Oh, so-and-so and so-and-so, I'd like you to meet my niece, Billy, and her new husband, Juan Luis, how exciting," whatever. A few more sentences, and then basically collapsed again on the pillow and was unconscious and unresponsive until she passed a few days later. So it's a moment where individuals who have had brain decline and dementia, or are in these other kinds of non-conscious, non-aware states, suddenly become aware again and in possession of their faculty, very close to their passing. So it's a very, very interesting topic, and has implications for the mind-body relationship. Our final talk for ParaMOOC 2019 is Dr. Stephen Braude. He's an emeritus professor from the Department of Philosophy at University of Maryland at Baltimore County. We always like to end on a very strong note, so we've had Professor Etzel Cardedia from Lund University close us up. We've had Dr. Dean Radin from IONS, the Institute of Noetic Science close us up, and I think that we may have had Stephen before in that kind of a position, but this time he's going to pull together from his point of view, post-mortem survival, what are those central issues of the field. This should be an excellent talk. And we'll be uploading a bibliography of his books, of which there are many, and I think there's probably mention of some of his other work on Carlos's bibliographies that you can download from the course. So that's this year's ParaMOOC. It's shorter, it's more focused. We've moved it to Saturdays to make it more likely that people who work during the regular work week will be able to attend, and people who are from other countries will be able to attend. In general, all of these sessions will be taking place at noon Eastern. If you download the Google Calendar link doc and open that up on your computer, it should show you in your own time zone what time that is. You can also go to a website called timeanddate.com. There's no space between time and date, and you can put in your location and our location, and it'll give you that hour spread. I do remember that Dr. Almeida, Alexander Morera Almeida, will be giving his talk at 2:15, and I think it's likely that we'll be moving around the time for Dr. Okado as well. We needed to kind of do that the last time, but there may be some changes as we go along. But in general, the majority of the presentations will take place at noon Eastern on either a Saturday or a Sunday.
So keep checking the calendar for any change.
Yeah, definitely. And I will, as you've noticed, if you've been in our ParaMOOCs before, I've got access to your emails, which never used to happen. So what I've been doing is welcoming everybody who's coming into the course. I've sent around that schedule of links and so on. And if there are changes, in addition to putting up something in the discussion forum, I'm going to open another discussion forum in the course that's called Notes and Updates. And it will be there, and it will also be available on the various Facebook pages, as well as you'll get an email from me about it. So let's talk about the classroom, because it's a bit different. For those of you who have been in there, I'm sure you've kind of taken a look. When you first log in, after you've already signed up and set up your account and all that stuff, when you first log in, if you don't go directly to the live class you want to watch, but you're going to just xt.com, which is the Academy URL, you're going to be taken to this sort of odd page that shows you part of the schedule, opens it to the very last thing that was uploaded into that schedule. It's a little funky, but it gives you it gives you a look at what's coming up next. And so if you click on, you're going to get to this part if you see your course first. So let's say you go in on the course link and you see the course and it has a little green button that says resume learning. If you click on resume learning, it will send you right to this page. If you just log into the Academy, it's going to take you right here. So this is kind of an odd thing, and we want to help you get out of there. One of the things this does show is how you can download different materials that are available. You can always take a look at things and read them online. Sorry, my knitting seems to be falling off the shelf over there. We have a poltergeist, I guess. I think I just put it up badly. And we'll talk about that when we get to another schedule page. If you click on view course when you first see this course description, so if you you're coming in with the course link and you see this course description first, if you click on view course, if you have that option, then it's going to give this to you. If you click on resume learning, it's going to take you right back to that week by week page. So don't worry, when you get there, there's always a way to get out of it. Navigating the resume learning page, you'll see that there are weeks set here. Now, I had originally put in all 11 weeks, and I'm not quite sure where they went, so I'm in the process of reopening them. And typically, you're going to see the upcoming weeks with their materials as they start to build out with materials. And you can click on any of these items, and it will show you what's available there. So if you click on the navigation bar over here on the left, that will get you back to this course part. And you will see overview, schedule, and discussions up at the top. You can get to a better view of the schedule by clicking on the word schedule from wherever you are, wherever you see it. The schedule build out, here again, you'll see all of the things that are listed. Now, originally, I was going to let WizIQ issue the certificates because, as many of you know, it takes me a long time to get the certificates out. Last year, we found that we had a problem with people who were really engaging with the materials, but WizIQ, for some reason, was just not getting that information. So I've had a number of requests for certificates from people who were conscious of the, in the course and around the course, but WizIQ wasn't picking that up. So initially, I actually had things set up so that you had to download everything and you had to come to everything before you could do the next thing. And then I thought, well, that's a bad idea. I want you to be able to choose what you need and want and not be following some schedule that I set up for you. So the problem was these first 4 were set up as required, and when I changed them to non-required, in some cases that didn't happen. So I suggest that you do download these 4 bits of information. They're good information. Once you download anything, you're going to see that little green check mark on your schedule. When something hasn't occurred yet, so like for instance, this is the PowerPoint for Carlos's presentation tomorrow. This is still locked because the presentation hasn't happened yet. When you come out of the presentation and go back to the schedule, the PowerPoint for the presentation will be downloadable. In some cases, we may not be able to. If a faculty member objects to the download of their PowerPoint, you will still be able to click on it and review it, but you won't be able to download it. That usually doesn't happen, but in the past, Dr. Beisel has wanted to keep her PowerPoint, so that might be one that will not be downloaded. Here is the link for the discussion forum, and I just wanted to point that out, so we're going to go to the discussion forum next. At the moment, the only discussion that's open in the discussion forum is introduce yourself. And I would really love it if everybody did that. I think it's a great idea to say hello to everybody, even if it's just welcome. Well, glad to see you here. I'm from this place. Where are you from? Whatever. But starting to get the conversation rolling. In this academy, we don't actually have access to the main WizIQ website that has a feed that goes down the center of the website. It's not a bad idea to go to www.wiziq.com and set up your account over there as well. It's a little more futzy than setting up the account for this academy, but it does allow you to kind of chat to people on my page and contact me, catch up with me, send me instant messages and stuff like that. You can also use my email, obviously, because I'm emailing all of you, so you can get in touch with me as well. I'm going to have a third. I'm going to have the notes and updates that's going to go up today. And I'm also going to put up one for people to let everybody know what their emails are if you're willing to get in touch with your classmates. And there's no pressure for that. Your amount of interaction in the course is whatever you want it to be. So when you see this, you'll see all of the different discussion forums aligned in this area after you click on discussion, and you'll be able to comment on any of the things that are there before, as well as vote for them. I'm not sure why we have that. And then if you need to return to the rest of the course, there's two ways to do it. You can click an earlier portion of the breadcrumbs here. So you know you're in the discussion forum, so you go back to the actual course. Or you can use these little 3 bars on the extreme left, and that's your navigation block. That not only gives you access to the live courses as a list, but to other things, such as your profile and so on. Find navigation bar just by clicking on live sessions. I'm pretty sure that the recordings will be in this same list. So even if you're looking for a recording, you click on live sessions. When you do that, you'll get this list that comes up, and you could reorganize it by date so that they're, from the first one to the last one, or leave it as is, which is, it always has the most recently put up one. Occasionally, you may see practice class Dr. Okado or practice class Dr. Morse or something in your list as well. I'm pretty sure that it only shows up in my list, but because it's part of our course, it might show up on your list too. Those will kind of come and go, because one of the things that we do with all the faculty members, even if they have done a presentation for us before, is to, I'm having trouble looking straight into the camera, sorry, is to have them go through and do a practice session, check out what they want to do, check out screen sharing, take a look at with their media, if they've got media, and so on. So they may pop up in here. And then, of course, as you all know, so this is mainly a slide for people who haven't yet come to a live session. You're going to see this wonderful countdown bar. Now, strangely enough, there's no longer a link for you to go out and check your tech and make sure that it'll work with the webinar system. And I think we're having a good time here. They've really engineered this new one not to need flash and not to be kind of self-modulating as we go through. And I've been to a number of online conferences by a colleague of mine, Dr. Nellie Deutsch, over the last year and a half since they've launched this. In fact, was in the launch, I went to the launch webinar as well. So I have never yet been in one where there were difficulties in terms of sound or anything like that. For me, when I logged in, I didn't have to modulate anything. I didn't have to go through anything else. So I think that's why it's there. If you have any problems, though, get in touch with me and we'll get you in touch with a WizIQ support person who can help you resolve your problems. Or you can make that account over on WizIQ.com. I think you get a 30-day learner's account. I'm not quite sure how they're handling that over there. And there are a number of technical pages there that you can use to check your tech. I will also share those links in a document that I'll put up in the materials for the course. So now this is what's going to come. Some of the things that we're going to be putting up for you as resources for the practicalities of handling the course. First, there'll be a tutorial on how to fill out your profile. Where that's useful is when you write something in the discussion forum, people will be able to see your name and your face. Yes, Stephen, absolutely. Every single thing that goes live here will also be recorded, and the recordings will be available on the class list. And I did a test webinar yesterday and recorded it, and it took them from, I would say, I finished at about 3 a.m. and it was up on the system when I woke up again at 11 to check and see how it was doing. And so it should be on the exact same link, whether you have your schedule with your list of links or you're clicking that navigation bar to go to the class list. You should be able to get into it in the same way. And it will also be listed, I'm pretty sure, on the schedule. That's something we're working out with WisIQ, because initially I had built all these live classes on the schedule and then they kind of disappeared from the schedule. So I'm not sure what happens. Also, I will be, just as an extra safeguard, I will be downloading all of the recordings and popping them up into the schedule as MP4s if they don't show up. They'll be unedited, but I think that's fine for the classroom. So you'll be able to get hold of everything. Anyway, filling out your profile helps when you make a discussion post, because we have a face. It doesn't have to be your face. It could be an image, whatever, but it kind of identifies you and it makes it a little more personable. You'll notice that there's one student in the course called Maggie Larimore, who is a cartoon. That's my avatar from Second Life, and I use her as a sample student so that I can log in and check things out and make sure you're seeing things the way I want you to see it. I'll have one on using the main WisIQ platform, how to get there, how the login and sign up process works, what are the kinds of things you can do with that system, how to get in touch with other students. And then we will be having certificates again this year, but I'm going to be uploading assignments. Basically, there'll be a submission area where you can pop up a review, because one of the ways that you can get your certificate, and especially a certificate of distinction, the certificates are assigned by Lisa Coley and issued by the Parapsychology Foundation, is to do a short review or commentary or something on your experience of a particular webinar or a particular resource that's been put into the classroom. So there'll be a YouTube tutorial up there on certificates and how to earn them. And I'll also be showing you how to use the assignments feature, whether it's using the submission facility where you just write you just write something into the frame or upload a Word doc. I will be embedding in the course the tour of the Eileen J. Garrett Library from the PF YouTube channel. It's just wonderful. Anna filmed Lisette giving a tour of the library, which is out on Front Street in Greenport at the Atlantic-most tip, the eastern tip of Long Island. And it's a charming, I'm going to recommend the YouTube channel very highly in a minute, but that particular video I think is a really good one. So that will be up in the classroom. I'm also going to be uploading MP4s of the Introduction to Scientific Study of Psychic Phenomena that came from ParaMOOC2019, and the Geographical View of Scientific Parapsychology, which was a tour through the various units around the world. 2018. And I'll also have a tour of this little place, which is the Azire Library and Learning Center that was founded on August 29th in 2009, and as of this morning has had 7,142 visitors in the form of avatars of living individuals from all over the world. It's where we hold our Second Life discussion forums. It's a library. You can click on all of the things that are around. It's not totally built out again. We've recently moved it from another location. And it's got, if you can see there, it's got a really nice big bird that somebody gave to Carlos when he was active in Second Life, and a tree with some toucans. And so on. And it's a very interesting neighborhood. Virtual education is something else that I'm interested in. I'm involved with Dr. Nellie Deutsch and Dr. Doris Bolero from, Nellie's from Canada, and Doris is originally from Venezuela, but lives in Argentina now. The three of us have been involved with a virtual World's MOOC that it started in 2014 and happens annually. So I will, if you're interested, let me know, and I can send you the link to all of the playlists for those courses, because it's absolutely fascinating. If you have an interest in education, it's absolutely fascinating to see what type of education takes place in virtual worlds, and it's from grade school through college. Most of my colleagues in Second Life are university professors who are not just IT professors, but historians and anthropologists and sociologists and literature people and so on. So it's and of course educational faculty. So it's a very kind of interesting media for coming together and learning together in a very active and kind of engaging way. So, and you'll see that when you start exploring the Parapsychology Foundation YouTube as well, because there's a very short, small little conference that was put together in December of 2016 with a big art project that was funded by Linden Laboratory, who owns Second Life, that was all about parapsychology and time and consciousness. And Dr. Julia Mossbridge, Dr. Dean Radin, the two of them from Institute for Noetic Sciences, gave talks on their work. Dean talked about the content of his most recent book, and Julia talked about pre-sentiment research. And we also had Dr. Dick Bierman from University of Amsterdam / University of Utrecht, a longtime researcher in the field, who talked about, and I did a short thing on these sort of time slip themselves in an area that feels like they've crossed over into some other time period. And what really made me happy about how that went was Julia, Dean, and Dean had an avatar when Second Life started in 2003. Julia was a newbie to the situation, and so was Dr. Dick Bierman. And Dean and Dick Bierman came back as Hogwarts professors, complete with an owl on their shoulders, and Julia chose a little alien girl with a world buzzing around her head. So that was a lot of fun. Anyhow, that I'm also going to have a tour of that in case you're interested and are already in virtual worlds or interested in coming into a virtual world and want to visit the Azire. Okay, let me move on. We're getting there. So now I want to tell you a little bit about the Parapsychology Foundation's resources online and the Azires. This is the main parapsychology website. It's just parapsychology.org. Lisette was way ahead of the curve and managed to get this website before anybody else even thought about having a website, which is why the Parapsychological Association, much to its chagrin, has parapsych.org as their website. Yeah. Yay, Lisette. Anyway. And this also works on, this is a phone ready website as well. And this is the home page and the library visit the library visit video. And as you can see, there's About Us, Programs, Library Grants, PF News, that's another blog, and SciInfo and the main PF blog. There's always a new blog every month. The March blog was about the ParaMOOC and about the history of the ParaMOOC in education with the Parapsychology Foundation. But there are many very good blogs there that I hope you will take a look at. And if you're enjoying the course and are grateful that it's free and you would like to help the Parapsychology Foundation in their work, at the bottom of every page there's a donate button that allows you to decide what you would like to donate, and you do it through PayPal. So I recommend not only checking out the Parapsychology Foundation main website, but also donating. This is the Parapsychology Foundation YouTube channel, and I'm not on the home page of the YouTube channel, and the link is here at the bottom. This will be live in the PowerPoint that you download. But this is a video page, and I thought it was good to go to the video page. There's more than 100 videos. They're a mixture of new online events and classic perspectives lectures, which took place in the library when Parapsychology Foundation was on 71st and 2nd in the Upper East of Manhattan in New York City. There are also some perspective lectures that have taken place more recently in other locations around New York City and in the Eileen J. Garrett Library in Greenport as well. We have a book expo series that happens every year. We've had a number of international affiliate conferences. The first online conference was filmed at the Eileen J. Garrett Library back in 2015, and that was called Advances in Parapsychology in the UK, and featured Professor Chris Rowe of the University of Northampton and a group of his then students, Elizabeth Roxborough, Rachel Ebden, Cal Cooper, and David Saunders, giving talks about their research. So there's a lot of really that Lizette has done over the years. The first issue of SciBytes on reincarnation, which is a shorter, more focused video, and longer interviews with modern researchers as well, such as research fellow Jim Matlock, who does the Science of Reincarnation course, has a new book out, and is probably the most knowledgeable person at the moment in our field on research into past lives. Brian showed up. Hello, Brian. And Brian is always a font of information over there in the chat box. So this is something I really, really recommend that you look out for. There's on the homepage you'll find a lot of different playlists. Whatever's been most recently uploaded is popped up on the top of the homepage on the YouTube channel. I am just about done with Jessica Utz's talk about research and statistics in parapsychology from I think it was 2018, and that will be going up either today or tomorrow. So that'll be a previous ParaMOOC lecture that you can go out to the PF page and see. And the Parapsychology Foundation is very dedicated to getting all this legacy film up there as well, because there were quite a lot of perspectives lectures and other kinds of film that was made over from the 90s up to yesterday, up to now. This is another of the Ready for Prime Time PF websites, scimart.com. You can go here and buy books and take a look at other things. We have a lot of plans for what's going to be going up on this over this year. We hope to have a lot of the individual articles from PF publications available at a low price, or possibly just available. We have to see how that goes. And again, at the bottom of these pages also is a donation button. These are the Facebook pages for PF and the Azire. Parapsychology Foundation has its own Facebook page. Psychic Explorers Club, Parapsychology Foundation has its own page as well. This is the Azire page on Facebook. You can get to it either with just THE space AZIRE or Alvarado Zingroni Institute. Once you put that in, you're going to find it in the search bar. This is Parapsychology Online. This is our main channel that supports our YouTube channel, which we haven't had much time to put anything up on recently. And this is the ParaMOOC Facebook page. And this is a closed page. We ask everybody to apply to join. You just click join, and then it takes you to the moderators, and then one of us, myself, Gonzalo Vega, Natasha Chistis, will come in and approve your application. There are about 123 people there. Some of them have never come to a ParaMOOC, but are following the progress of the videos that are going up, or coming and seeing a couple of lectures here and there. So on our side, the Azire side, I recommend that you look for Parapsychology Online and the ParaMOOC especially. And this is another place, the ParaMOOC, where you can talk to colleagues from this course. This you'll see here, you don't, the header is not the whole picture, but this was a photograph that Fatima Machado took of the final episode, the final meeting online of the very first ParaMOOC in 2015, in which we had the whiteboard up and people were putting up how they felt about the course and questions, and icons and lots of smiley faces. So she took that picture while she was sitting at her desk in Artibaia in Brazil, and probably, I think we had about 30 people in the class, and they were from all over the planet. So it was really kind of a wonderful, iconic photo that kind of explains what the ParaMOOC is all about, so that we use that as our header. Oh, thank you for coming, Lizette. I hope you have a wonderful birthday day, and we'll see you next time. Okay, and then this is the Azire Moodle. This is an installation that we've been using to teach. At the moment, the most active course is Jim Matlock's Signs of Reincarnation. He will be offering another one of these in probably in the fall. These are paid courses, but he has a lot of scholarships available. Decoding Your Dreams by Bobby M. Pym is a self-paced course. At the moment, she's working on it. I don't know that it's open yet. And we have two courses up here. One is an introduction, and another, I think, is an experimental course or a history course. We'll be teaching in this academy from May. Well, probably from June or on. We're going to set up some pay-per-view kind of courses in our Moodle after the MOOC is over. So this, I don't think you need to go to necessarily, but to let you see what our other one is. I do not know what I did with the slide with our main website. I made a picture of it, but I don't think I put it in here. But theazire.org is our main website, and you can get there from here, because here's the link, or just by putting in www.theazire.org or theazire.org. That's also been remodeled a bit and is cell phone ready. So that's that. Now, does anybody have any questions? And if you do, just put them in the chat box, and I will see if I can't lean over there and read it. I may need to, nope, need the glasses on. Everything's pretty clear. Oh, we're doing good. Oh, wonderful, Barry. That's great. Okay. Yeah, you can always email me at nancy@theazire.org or carlos@theazire.org. That's that guy. And we'll be glad to answer your questions. If you're looking for information, if you're having a problem with the course, email me. If you're having a serious problem with getting into the course frame or something else that's WizIQ related, you can write to support@wiziq.com. Let me put that in here. In fact, I'll put everything in here so it's I have to lean in here. Support@wiziq.com is where you're having a big problem that I might not be able to handle. And sometimes you can ask me and I will write them on your behalf. This is my email, Nancy@theazire, and Carlos. Did I spell that right? Yep. @theazire. I tend to leave that R out. Anything else? Anybody else have any more questions? And remember, the course is free. You can always take those links that I've sent you and pass them around to your friends. We, in the past, were able to have people come in without having to set up an account. And I sent that question to the team because there is a little toggle that you can click that says any visitor to the academy can come into the live classes, and it wasn't working. But like I said, in this academy, the enrollment, the sign up, as some of you know, is a lot easier than it used to be. So that's fine. Yes, absolutely. In fact, it will become active. It will probably be locked up on your schedule. I like to get them up there before the class starts. This was a question about the PowerPoint and when will it be active. It becomes active after a presentation, then you'll be able to click on it and watch it. And when it comes up in the frame, there'll be a download button to the right for most of the presentations, if not, all of them. And you'll be able to download that PowerPoint onto your own computer. When I put up PowerPoints from past ParaMOOCs, those will also be downloadable. I won't be sharing anything that isn't downloadable from past ParaMOOCs. Ah, Morgan. Yay. We're glad to have you, Stephen. Yes, right. Oh, good. Oh, great, Patricia. That's wonderful. So they're already available. So it must click off from that lock when the day comes that the presentation is on. So that's good to know. Any other questions? I can't believe it. We're actually ahead of time. Yay! Not bad. Any other questions, anybody? I want to say a big shout out to Brian now that he's here, that he's been our co-moderator of the discussion forums from the very first MOOC and was also a presenter in the very first MOOC. He's been an extremely important member of our team. And Brian, if you want to put the Psychical Research Foundation URL in the chat, that would be great. It's a terrific website. Dedicated to the work of William G. Roll, who was its founder, and a number of other topics. Brian writes some really excellent review articles that we've used in courses before. I'll be popping some of those up into this course when they're relevant. And he has just a whole slew of them on the Psychical Research Foundation website, as well as newsletters and so on. I wonder if he's still here. It doesn't tell me when people are writing anymore. It used to tell me when people were writing, so I could see if somebody was doing something. Well, if he doesn't pop it up there, I think, let me see if I can get it on Google. So oh, you can tell that I've been there recently because I put in Psychical and up came Psychical Research Foundation. I'm also going to put up, here's Brian's URL. I'm also going to put up the one for the encyclopedia of the Society for Psychical Research. Am I getting it? Yeah, that's it. This is a terrific resource. It's still in the process of being.
To go home. I
should go back to the home page. All right, let's see if it's a. Yeah. Okay. Let me give you the home page because that was. There you go. That's the home page. This, if you haven't followed this as yet, it's really wonderful. There's an enormous amount of stuff being written. Carlos has written quite a lot, and a lot of other people. I've got overview of parapsychology that I have to get done in the next couple of months as well. That hopefully we'll both do together. So just about every topic you can think of, and it's still under construction. So there's a lot more to come. And as if you take a look at it, you can see that you've got the categories displayed A to Z. There's also the contents A to Z, and then there's the categories. There's new to Psy research, which is set up for people who aren't familiar with the field. Then there's something about the donor who gave the money to the Society for Psychical Research, and that money is what's being used to put this together. And then biographies of the contributors with yeah, exactly, Barry. It's a definitive. And then a link to the contributors, their bios, and a list of all of the entries that they let's see if this will go back to the beginning. That they've written, which is that's a really good thing. If you like the way somebody writes an entry, it's really wonderful to be able just to go find their contributor page and then have that list of everything they've written. That's always a good idea. My mouse seems to have a mind of its own. Right, exactly. Thanks, Patricia. The download button should be there for all of the materials and all of the PowerPoints. I'm not sure if it's going to show up for the YouTube videos and so on. So I'm having to kind of convert things into MP4s to get them up there. But I will be giving a YouTube list, kind of like your list of links to the courses. I'll have a page like that as well. And if you're somebody that's already in virtual worlds, I have a live Google Calendar in the Azire library, and I've got 3 giver boxes on the floor that give you all the materials and their links from the actual course room. So I'll be updating that as I go. Okay, any other questions? Are we good? Okay, well, now's your last chance. I'm going to shut it off in a second. I'm going to wait just a second. I don't know why it doesn't show me that people are writing. Okay, good. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And hopefully in the next couple of hours, this link is going to be to the recording. So feel free to share that around to folk who weren't able to attend with us today. And we are looking forward to seeing you tomorrow for Carlos's talk on survival of death and the development of parapsychology, which should be very interesting. You can already download his PowerPoint from that course, which looks gorgeous, by the way. It didn't mess up the PowerPoint at all. The old Academy used to kind of like move the pictures around and everything, and it didn't do that time. Oh, okay, Barry, great. Yeah, we used to be able to embed the Google Calendar into the classroom schedule, but it's no longer possible. So that's why I put it up on just on a paper kind of thing. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming, and I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I hope you'll recommend it to friends. And I hope you like all the lectures. Yep. Let us know. Yep, and please go find that discussion forum and say hello to each other and give yourself a little introduction. And I'll have the tutorial about the profile up a little bit later. But I'm sure if you go and if you click on that, those 3 little lines to the left of the navigation bar, all the way at the bottom will be your name. You can click on the download button, and it will show you where to put your profile in, and then have the log out thing and so on. And you're automatically brought into the course as learners, so you don't have to fiddle around with big learners or visitors or whatever else. So thanks, everybody, and we're so glad to see you today, and we'll see you again tomorrow. See you soon. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Bye.